I'm Mark Austin Fountain. For me, the history of Brookline starts here on Austin Road. I was brought up in my mother and father's house on one side, and over here is my grandparents' house, where my mother and her three brothers were born and raised. I'm dedicating this film to our parents' and grandparents' generation, who were a very remarkable lot. A lot of people look at the old photographs like they're dinosaurs, and they weren't. They were adaptable. They were tough. They survived. Newton was right. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And I dedicate this film to them, and in particular to my grandparents, Frank and Alita Austin. My grandmother was a successful businesswoman, and my grandfather, a selectman, overseer of the poor, and town moderator, among other offices he held. This film will take early turn of the century and before photographs of this town, and comparing them with the same scenes in similar places as they appear now, along with some of the most beautiful scenery in this pretty little town that I grew up in and still consider my hometown. I hope you like it, because it's been a labor of love. Richard Hazen and his crew of King surveyors laid down the new province line between New Hampshire and Massachusetts in 1741, and by the time this feat was accomplished, all the old King's land grants of the previous century had been pretty much dissolved and broken up, as little towns had sprung up within their boundaries. Hollis, New Hampshire was soon formed and had become more and more settled, and as time wore on, people had to move to the western part of the town to find new land for farming. Only this posed a problem, and especially in the inclement weather of the New England winters. Provincial law strictly said you must attend church on Sunday. The old meeting house of Hollis stood right behind me, where the Congregational Church now stands. And as the law said, you had to go to church. Even if there was 5 or 6 miles of rough terrain between you and the church, you had to go in all weather, every Sunday, all day long. You had to walk there, more likely than not, on foot. As for these reasons, but the people in the westerly part of Hollis filed a petition hoping that the provincial government in Portsmouth would grant them their wish to incorporate a new town. This is the route they would have taken between the western part of Hollis to Hollis Center, where the meeting house was. The speedometer on my car reads a little over 2 miles. Not even halfway. The house behind me was built by Samuel Farley in the 1760s. He was one of the most distinguished of all the men in the western part of Hollis. It was because of this distinction that 33 of the people who lived in the western part of Hollis petitioned him in 1768 to ask the provincial government to incorporate a new town so the townspeople would not have so much of a hardship trying to attend church and tend to their business affairs. He petitioned them that year. For some reason, the legislature did not take care of it. So he petitioned them again early in 1769, and they granted a new charter for a new township to be incorporated on March 30th, 1769, called Raby, later Brookline, New Hampshire. Interior of the Alexander McIntosh house in western Brookline. This is historically significant because Alexander McIntosh was one of the very earliest settlers in this area, and also he was very active in town affairs. This house was the site of some of the very earliest town meetings. There was also a very early tavern in this town. And I believe some school sessions were held here also. Brookline's men and women had never been shy when it came to war. When times were troubled and when the peace was threatened, they were always there. And they shone true blue for sure during the American Revolution, fighting in most of the major battles, and several of them losing their lives, as shown here on the Charlestown tablet. The Battle of Bennington, Valley Forge, and many others. Something we can take a great deal of pride in. Now we have the town of Brookline firmly established and already gone through its revolutionary period, we're going to skip ahead to the age of photography, most notably the period between 1890 and 1930. Some of the photographs don't fall within that period, but most of the ones that you see here, in comparison with the modern videography, are from that area. These old photographs have a magical appeal about them. In a very real sense, they're very much like a time machine, because an instant in time has been frozen by the camera's eye for as long as that photograph exists. And luckily there are quite a few left that were taken around the turn of the century of old-time Brookline. And it's interesting to note the contrast between then and now. Legion Hall was once a schoolhouse. summer residence of Judge E. Parker, author of the town history. They know this building is reputed to be one of the very oldest buildings on Main Street, Brookline. This is the old Brookline house, also known as the Old Town Tavern. Brookline's militia used to drill out in front of this building. Perhaps because there was a bar inside. Leonard Knudsen Jr.'s house, the old Elmwood Inn. This place used to be a stagecoach stop in the old days. Church, now the town's youth center. This Main Street is at the turn of the century. A colored postcard. Village store as it appears now. Red. Famous old watering trough. Perkins Bucks team. Village Main Street in 1914. Charles Corey's house was once a cobbler's house and shop. In front of the village store, looking up toward the Congregational Church, This little building was the village post office. Mr. Bridges, the postmaster in the doorway. Brookline ambulance house for years was the old firehouse. Looking north, Milford Street from the center of town. Postcard. This was prior to the building of the town hall. Notice the old baggage warehouse up by the railroad station. There's the Brookline Town Hall. Scene of countless town meetings and other functions. Mr. Hobart breaks the ground in 1912. In this photo, the land was deeded in Mr. Sam Sweat's will to the town. It was a meadow then. Time, the town hall was built. Here's what it looked like in 1914.